Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's 1Million by 1Million Strategy Roundtable for Entrepreneurs. 1M, as you know, is the first and only global virtual accelerator in the world. Our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million and beyond in annual revenue. And in support of that mission, we do these free mentoring roundtables every week. This is the 441st session. We started doing these back in the fall of 2008 as a, just an experiment. We didn't really know how this was going to pan out, but it has panned out very well, obviously. Over 100,000 people have attended these sessions, and we continue to, do more of them. Every single session is recorded. You will find all recordings on the YouTube channel 1M1M Roundtables. And if you're live tweeting the show today, please use hashtag 1M1M. You can join us on Twitter at 1M by1M or at Shramana. We publish a lot of interesting content. These are the call-in numbers. We have a pretty packed program. I think we have 5 entrepreneur pitches today. But I will see how much time we have for Q&A and discussions. It is a roundtable, so we want you to participate as much as possible. So please, line up your questions, and by all means, participate in the public chat. Make sure you set your public chat to send to all participants, and then everybody can see what you're saying. You can dialogue there and network and so forth. Feel free to introduce yourself there as well. Now, one other housekeeping rule, do not send me technical support messages. Right now, Nag Kukkadapu is sending me technical support messages. It's mandatory to be on the phone. Don't send me these messages. I'm going to anchor this session. I'm going to work with entrepreneurs. I don't have the bandwidth. I don't have enough multitasking skill to also do tech support. So those kinds of queries, send them to Maureen, and she will help you get sorted. If you're a presenter today in particular, any other tech support queries, send to Maureen. And do not send me private messages. I do not deal with private messages in these sessions. Send everything to public chat, and I will pick up questions and comments from public chat as well. Before we get on with the presentations from the entrepreneurs, I want to welcome all the winners of the EIT Help, European Digital Health Program scholarships. I know many of you have received scholarships to the 1Million by 1Million program, and we are delighted and thrilled to have you here. So welcome. By all means, do 2 things as you work through this program, especially the ones who have won 3-month scholarships to 1M by 1M Basic. Study the curriculum. The curriculum is intense, and the curriculum is really solid to give you a great foundation in early stage entrepreneurship. And then attend these roundtables. These roundtables are happening every week, so you're very welcome to during and after your basic membership that you have won. You're very welcome to come and participate in these roundtables. And by the way, you're going to have to pitch, right, for the EIT semifinals and final. You're going to have to pitch. So use the material in the curriculum, the templates. We have great investor pitch templates, great customer pitch templates. Look in the financing module for the investor pitch templates. So use them to prepare your pitches, and you're very welcome to come here to the free roundtables to come practice your pitches and come get some feedback. You can only do it once. You can pitch at these public roundtables only once, so choose your time. But by all means, use the curriculum material to get your ducks lined up. One other thing I'm going to give you as orientation to the EIT Health people, go to the self-assessment page on the 1M by 1M website and look at the questions. Those are the strategic questions that investors would ask you. Those are the strategic questions that EIT is trying to judge you on. How well developed is your point of view vis-a-vis those questions, those strategic planning questions? So definitely use that to, orient yourselves and learn where you have methodology gaps. Go plug the methodology gaps by using the curriculum. All right. We're going to start with the entrepreneur pitches shortly. Just a bit of expectation setting, folks, those who are presenting. We are completely on your side. This is a safe working session. You can discuss whatever it is that you're struggling with or concerned about, or whatever roadblocks you're facing, and we'll try to help you with acceleration strategy. Now, if you disagree with feedback that you get here, that's fine today. That's fine as well. It's your venture. You're going to do whatever you want with your venture. Whatever strategy you want to follow is really yours to decide. What we give you here is feedback based on experience, and we give you pointers to how you can learn, more about what the problems that you're trying to address. So definitely consider the feedback, but it's your venture. You are going to decide the final strategy. Ignacio, you are first. Please unmute your line and tell us what you're doing. Yes.
Yes, Romana. Nice to meet you, and greetings to everyone there. So, yes, we are one of the 80 health alumni. So we are applying for the next Catapult program. So we are here to learn, as you said. So I'm very pleased to show you our company and what we are doing to learn our mistakes and to grow up. So first of all, my presentation, I am Ignacio Barraque. I am 50 years old and I live in Zaragoza. This is a beautiful city in the north of Spain. So it's one of the 3 sanctuaries devoted to the Virgin Mary in Lourdes in France, Fatima in Portugal, and Zaragoza in Spain. It's a beautiful city. So I'm a computer engineer. Yeah, I'm a computer engineer, and I've been working for IT consultancy companies for more than 15 years, applying technology to healthcare sector, and education sector. And in 2012, the company was sold, and I had to start again from scratch. So I co-founded 1Mby1M. It's a company that builds pediatric exoskeleton for children with neurological or degenerative diseases. It's an amazing project. It's a project with social DNA where I fell in love with social entrepreneurship, sincerely. So in 2016, my father suffered a heart attack. So fortunately, he survived it, but he fell into a depression. He was afraid to go out, so he stayed at home all day long. He didn't want to go out. And no one of the current IT solutions or services that we had helped my father to recover self-confidence, the capability he had before the accident. So that's why I created Social&Care. So changing the slide, please. So as my father, more than 900 million people globally need assistance to perform activities of daily living, the ADL activities. And there are not resources enough, nor human, neither economical, to take care of those people. So can you imagine the situation in 2050 when the elderly population will be more than 2 billion? It's crazy. So really the aging problem is one of the biggest challenges we have in Europe, in America, and also in Japan, are the most aged continents. So we need to solve this problem. By the other side, current care services and IT solutions are designed for emergencies. I mean, if something happens and someone is going to help you, there are hundreds of thousands of companies developing solutions all over the world, like as telecare or GFMs, false detection, solutions to help you if you need help. But these are reactive care or reactive solutions. They are inefficient and unsustainable. And in addition, it doesn't help the elderly to maintain their physical and cognitive capabilities. So if we want to really solve the aging problem, we need to extend the autonomy and independence lifetime of the elderly. That's the solution. So, and to do that, we need to prevent accidents, and also we need to help the elderly to recover their capabilities after an accident. So that's we do in Social&Care. That's what Social&Care does. So, and we change the slide.
Question is how?
What we do is we learn from user activity 24 hours per day. So without user having to press a button or make a call, we are going to learn the patterns, so the behavior. I mean, the time they wake up, the time they go to bed, the time they go out, the kilometers they walk, etc. So we can understand if something strange or something unusual is going to success. So without the user having to ask for help, we are going to detect that something strange is happening. So we are going. Sorry, I have.
Somebody has dialed in who's streaming echo.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So we are going to detect these unusual situations automatically. So to do that, we use disruptive technologies based on IoT and smart algorithms. We create this behavior, this smart behavior, and these patterns of activity. So we can warn families if something strange occurs, or mean they have not come back, they are not activity at home, too much time in the bathroom, etc. By the other side, we can help home care companies to create new added value services. What I want to say is nowadays the home care services are not added value. The only added value is price. So they offer 2 hours or 3 hours home care services, plus added telecare service. So we changed this service to a continuous monitoring of the elderly, detecting every significant reduction in their capabilities, so we can preventively detect fragility symptoms, and also we can improve their activities based on activity plans that caregivers can make. I mean, they can suggest the user to do more activities, to do more, to go to buy bread, to go to visit someone, etc. So, and for public care services, for public administration, we are collaborating in projects against rural depopulation or increasing efficiency and efficacy of the social services in rural areas. So we can change can we change so perfect. So, and Social&Care is based on a business model in a pay-per-use business model. So we have 3 channels. The B2C is only for families and individuals. So we use Facebook and Google campaigns and internet to go to reach some clients. The other channel is the B2B2C. It's a B2B channel, but the end user is our target. So if there are home care or teleassistance care or home or care center companies, residents or day centers, so we visit them in an in-person commercial activity, and also we go to different trade visits like Aftenplex in Germany or Vivatech in France. And for B2G, government and public administration, we do also in-person commercial activities. We used to present collaborative European projects. So we are in transition from early to growth. We have almost 400 users for the premium version of our app. And we are working nowadays with 2 home care companies, 2 of the biggest companies in Spain and Europe, working nowadays with more than 35 caregivers and 50 final users plus their relatives. And also we are doing 2 European projects against rural depopulation using these technologies in zones where there are not mobile communications, I mean GSM communication. So we are one of the biggest partners of the government of our state, Aragon, in the north of Spain, working with 6 councils that less than 300 inhabitants. We want to have more than 600 users at the end of the year, and we expect to create more users in the next years. So also we are playing an active roles in all entrepreneurial ecosystems. We have been working in different startup ecosystems like AT Health, and we go to the different.
Ignacio, I have a question.
First.
What you have put up here, why is the 2019 user number so low? Because you already have 386 users of the freemium version, plus 50 final users through home care companies, plus you have, these city councils in the government of Aragon. That should, 2019, we are simply in April right now, so there are another 8 months of this year left. Why do you think the user count is just 650 for 2019?
Yeah, these are users are paying users because our freemium version is.
So 386 are all free users. All these are free users, or are any of them paying users?
Yes,
all the ones that you collected. They're all free users.
So
I see. Nobody's paying anything yet.
There are users paying, but our focus is in the B2B and the B2G sector because it's one of the questions we have after this slide is the B2B. The B2C channel is too much expensive for us, so we want to move to pivot to B2B and B2G sectors because it's very, very expensive for us, this channel. So the contrast we have is this year is for us to grow inside our clients to more than 600 users by the end of this year. So that's the numbers, the figures we have.
So the first feedback I would say is that acquiring free users with Facebook advertising and Google advertising is a very expensive thing to do, and I don't recommend you do it. I think you're going to end up wasting a lot of money which will not convert. Premium conversion is very poor. There's a module if you look at the positioning module of the curriculum, which I recommend you do, I have a whole section on freemium where I really talk about why freemium is a very bad idea because the conversion rates are very low and you shouldn't be spending money to acquire free users. So I prefer, based on what you've described, I also prefer a strategy that is, targeting home care companies, governments, and so forth. So that conclusion is correct. Now, the other question I have, I will go to your question slide in a moment, but I have a question for you, which is, you have shown 2019, 2020, 2021 ramp in revenues. Is this organic? Do you propose to raise funding, or are you able to do these numbers without raising funding?
Yes, a great question. Okay, obviously, if we can do that without an investor, it would be perfect. But we know that we need external help because we are not only talking about money; we are talking about competencies. I mean, if we want to go out to Europe and we want to go to America, we need local partners to help us in this process. So we are sure we need help from investors, help from partners, and that's why we are looking for companies that want to extend their competencies in their countries, so we can provide new solutions for them to increase their portfolio and to.
Ignacio, there's two issues. One is customers, and one is investors. These are two separate issues. If you're looking for investment, right now, this kind of project, you're going to have to show how this business is going to move after 2021. Because remember, venture capitalists are looking to go from $0 to $100 million in 5 to 7 years. So if you bring in a venture capitalist who is going to go from 175,000 euros to 2.4 million euros in 3 years, that is not a very interesting proposition. So, things are changing a little bit nowadays. so what you're going to need to show then is that after 2021, there is an inflection point, and you can go to go to $100 million within a total 7-year time frame, 7-8 year time frame. So you need to model how you get there. So I recommend that you study the financing module in the curriculum and then come back. Well, we'll see. I mean, you don't really have access to the premium membership, but basically you're going to need to show investors that you have full access, you have the ability to scale at a level that investors are interested in. As far as how to get into other markets, it's not clear to me that the first thing you should do is go to the US market. I think the first thing you should do, since you are in Spain, and Spain has a very large aging population, you should first close the Spanish market, right? You should build. The question to me is, without going to the US, if you focused on Spain, in your local areas, in your regional areas, how many home care companies are there, and how much business can you generate paying customers through those home care companies just by focusing on Spain?
So
this is called TAM, right? Total Available Market. Just a second. In your curriculum, there is a module on market sizing. So do market sizing based on Spain and see what kind of numbers can you do within Spain. Can you hit serious revenues within Spain? Because scaling in the US is easier if you have a proven track record in Spain that is monetized and so forth, and investors would be willing to work with you if you can show validation. Right now you're showing that you have a few free users, but you don't really have any customers, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
So you should spend some time trying to understand the financing, how financing works, and we have provided you great training material in the financing module. So I think you should go over all that. And then worry about Europe. I would say do the core curriculum, soup to nuts, and then that will give you a lot of pointers on how to go about navigating this company. And you're asking about protecting your smart algorithms. Software code can never be protected, but you can do patents, algorithmic patents. You can do, you can file for patents to protect intellectual property on algorithms.
Yeah. So that's.
But the best thing is execution. If you can just go out there and execute, I think if you have really superior algorithmic intellectual property defense, then you should look at filing for patents, at least provisional patents. But you also have to execute, you have to validate, and you have to show that it's working in some of these home care situations, because there's this question of getting customers, and then there's question of evidence that it is working. So if you have 35 caregivers, 50 final users plus relatives using this product, you need to show use cases that this is working. Okay?
Okay.
So why don't you start with using the curriculum and just kind of understanding some of these topics like market sizing, like positioning, freemium, financing, validation, all of these pieces, all of which you have access to through your basic membership, and then then see what questions come up based on that.
Okay, perfect.
But your instinct of going with B2B and not B2C is absolutely correct. You're going to burn through a lot of money unnecessarily and make no progress if you just go acquire free users in a B2C mode.
Okay, perfect, Samana. So I agree with you with the questions about the financial. So we are going to learn in your scholarship membership. So so what do you think about our idea about prevent frailty for the elderly against the emergency management?
I like it very much. I like it very much. I think it's a very important problem that you're solving, but you have to prove with data and testimonials that it works and use cases. Yeah?
Okay.
I like the problem definition very much, but I have no feedback yet that it's working, and nobody does, because you are working with a few customers. You need to model what's happening in those scenarios. What is the impact? ROI. One of the things you'll learn in the curriculum is how to present ROI. You have to present ROI. You have to present, all these things you have to learn how to do.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you,
good.
Ramana.
All right. Who's going next? Maureen, can you give me some guidance? Is Nag ready to go?
Yes.
Nag, are you there?
Is my voice audible?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Very good morning, all of you. Here, Nag Kukkadapu. So we represent the ReferenceGlobe platform. This is one of the India's first and complete digital student transformation platform. We are into EdTech. So please move on to the next slide. So, the current situation in India is the education sector in India is severely lacking the adoption of digital technology, and then students are not far ahead with the skill expectations of the competitive market. And then we understand we need to build one kind of platform to bring complete transformation of the students to make them ready with the industry expectations. So we build this platform, and we've been completely helping the colleges and the universities to transform their students to the level of competitive market. Please move on to the next slide. So what we are doing is we have built one integrated digital platform, as I mentioned earlier. Right from the first year to the fourth year, we're helping the students in all the aspects to make them ready. And then we also built one recruitment platform to help the students to get the better placements. And we also understand that, getting higher education, good higher education opportunities for the students also important. So we also built one platform, admission solution platform. So I'm gonna give you a little more detail in each one of the platforms. So this is our core platform that we call as college product. So the ReferenceGlobe is created for college faculty, training and placement, and students for collaboration, learning, and evaluating the required skills that are needed for complete transformation. So here we provide a very good collaboration platform to connect the faculty to help the students, and also the alumni to connect the students to exchange information and also share the opportunities. And then we also given a customer. I'm sorry?
No, go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah, so we also created a customized assessment platform with built-in question banks to continuously evaluate the students and to track the students' ongoing performance reports. And we also enabled self-paced learning, upskill, reskill mechanisms. And so the current situation in India is that students are not getting the on-demand mentor support. So colleges have been investing a lot of money on the training needs, but when the student is really required, so there is no instant support for the students to address their questions or queries. So we have built kind of on-demand mentorship features also to from the faculty and as well as expertise professors to help the students. And as mentioned,
I would like you to move from this slide. I think I understand that you're trying to do a lot of things. To be able to help you, By the way, there are specific startups trying to do each of these things, and I've seen numerous pitches on various aspects of this. You're thinking of building something very broad and very comprehensive. My first question to you, and you're trying to build so many things: recruitment platform, admission solution platform, and each of them have so much functionality. My question is, where are you right now? I understand this market. I think I've seen these kind of presentations many times. Where are you right now? Do you have a product? Are you selling to anybody?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. We've been working with 150 engineering colleges across India in the last 4 years. And then, so let's move on to the next slide. Where we are, we have that. Can you please let's move on to the next slide also, please? So this is where we are right now. And then, we already completely built the college product, and we have been successfully working with 175 colleges right now across India, including the top colleges, including the deemed universities. And we've been able to completely.
So you have 175 colleges paying for your products?
Yes.
They've done 10,000 assessments, 20 lakh students are on the system, 2.5 programming challenges you've run, 7 lakh questions in the question bank, you have a college network. Is that a social media thing? College network is a social media thing?
No. So we know in the last 4 years, we have been working with colleges, directly or indirectly, we are helping the colleges to use either one or two of our services, and that's how we build the college network across India.
I see. So what is the function of the college network or the business schools network? What do they do? When being part of this college network gets what?
So basically, we are a student subscription model. The business model is, so it's a B2B. So we approach a college and we offer this, student transformation platform. So which includes college logins, faculty logins, and student logins. And it's a 4-year membership that will be given to the students. And then, the colleges use our platform, and students also use our platform. That is what the business model is.
All right. So let's go back to now what you presented as your, let's see, this one. So of the 175 colleges that you have on your system, are all 3 buckets already functioning for each of these colleges, or each of them are doing one piece of it?
So basically, let me get into a little detail. So basically, graduate engineering and graduate colleges, we do the digital student transformation platform to them, and then the digital recruitment platform, our product is ready. Of the clients, we are already helping them to recruit the students. So the base idea is every year we get on an average of 5 lakh students enrolled to our platform, either using our paid services or maybe on-demand services.
So you have corporate clients as well? Besides the 175 colleges, do you have corporations also subscribing to this?
Yes, we have, we have started corporation platform in this year only, and we have, a limited number of clients, maybe 5 to 10, and we are trying to, expand our business model in that area.
And they are paying customers?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now tell me, how much is each college paying of the 175 colleges? What is the average deal size?
So the average deal size is around, 3 to 3.5 lakhs Indian rupees. I mean, it all depends on the student number also.
What is the denomination? Per month, per year, flat fee? What is the 3 to 3.5 lakhs?
So let me, give you a clear, in detail of the business model. So usually, though we are going with B2B business model, but we charge for the student. It's a student subscription. For example, if a college, have 1,000 students, they'll charge, they'll pay us for 550 plus GST. It's around 649 rupees they'll pay, for lifetime membership. As our platform is a student transformation, right from first year and so second year, third year, that's how we give the membership to the students.
Got it. But it may be membership to the student, but each college, once a college is fully deployed, it is a recurring revenue for you because every year new students come in, right?
Yes, that's what the business model is.
Right. Okay. Got it. So 3.5 lakhs per year is your revenue per college per year is the model.
I mean, so exactly these 175 clients is the last 3 to 4 years, like colleges that we have got, and this year we got only like 45 to 50 colleges, like added to our client network.
Okay. So what is your revenue currently?
So yeah, I like we have worked on that. I would be able to share you, that in your personal email because it's a public forum. So I'm just I would like to share with you in your personal email.
That's fair. Okay, so let's go to your questions. I understand what business you're doing. By the way, from a pitch point of view, I would recommend that when you explain, like use this first slide that you have here, explaining what you do, this one. Yes. Right after this, you should have a slide saying that 175 colleges and 10 corporates are already using this solution and paying 3.5 lakhs, each college paying 3.5 lakhs per year. Kind of, I mean, just make it very credible right up front when you're pitching this, that it's a functioning company. It's a company that is already in swing, in motion. You have already validation. So that puts you in a very strong position. And that's something that should come up right up front.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah? Okay. So let's go to your questions. I think I more or less know what you're trying to do based on what you've told me. Because in the interest of time, because I have 3 other people that I'd like to work with, let me understand what your questions and what your issues are. Then I will, if we need to come back to market sizing, we will.
Yeah. So basically, right now, like we haven't targeted completely, the market available for us. So I know, like we have concentrated, like only 2 or 3 states and couple of important areas, like available in India. So we have a huge market, and then our product is already proven, and then we are trying to expand our market to the, like 10 to 12 states in the coming, 12 to 15 months. So and we are trying to expand our business in Bangalore, Pune, and Mumbai, and also like some kind of East region. So where these graduate and like undergraduate students are really looking for these kind of platforms. And as you know, this is what we are looking for at the moment, and we also have some product roadmap to like convert these platform into the software as service and put some kind of artificial intelligence and gamification to increase the students' engagement as well.
Okay. So, I mean, I don't have a sense, I mean, I can guess, your revenue level. It seems like you have some level of revenue, or a reasonable level of revenue, a reasonable amount of validation. I would need to understand what kind of sales cycle you're experiencing and what is the sales process. In 1Mby1M, we use a methodology called Sales 2.0 to scale companies. So if you want to go from 5 customers to 100 customers to 500 customers to 5,000 customers, we have a very detailed methodology of how to do that. It seems to me that is one of the first things you need to study, and you need to kind of roll that out, that methodology out in your sales effort, so that you have a strategy for scaling. And so we need to understand I need to understand what you're doing. You need to understand that methodology, and then we need to, dialogue and figure out how to make that happen for your company. That is going to be the first thing I would do. If you were in the 1Mby1M program, that is the first thing I would have you do.
For sure. And to answer your question, like we are very happy to say that this company is a completely bootstrapped company, and we are operating on our own revenue right now. So the reason behind like me joining this platform is to completely, and we also had some kind of based on my experience in the last 4 years, I visited more than 1,000 to 1,500 colleges out of my passion, and we have some kind of expansion plan and sales plan also in place that we are looking some kind of support to like expand this like with the revenue and sales strategy that we define.
So what is the question?
No, the question is, as we are looking some kind of so who have long-term plans, some kind of positive-minded investors, like who have.
You're looking for funding, basically.
Yes.
You're looking for funding, yeah. So definitely funding is part of the 1 million by 1 million premium programs offering. If you wait a bit, let me finish working with the other three people, and I will spend some time, 3-4 minutes, explaining how to use the 1Mby1M program, and then you can ask more questions after you listen to that. Is that okay?
For sure, please. Thank you for the opportunity.
You're very welcome. All right, Kevin, you are up next.
Hi, how are you today? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, great. All right, so my name is Kevin Maillet. I'm a 15-plus year data professional. Cut my teeth at large financial institutions, Banco Santander, Bank of America, done some work with startup companies. Definitely been a very active career and decided to take that love locally. We have a very similar program to 1Mby1M. It's called E4All, Entrepreneurship for All. This company started as a small company that went through this program, and I acted as a mentor from a technology standpoint. Now, 2 years later, this company has grown phenomenally, and I took a look at their reviews. They had 2018 500% growth. We're looking to be on par for that for 2019. Our service levels are phenomenal. And what this is if you guys are familiar with Uber Eats or DoorDash, this is somewhat of a clone model, except for we focus more on service. As you can see here, our reviews are amazing. We've had competition come into the space. Yesterday, we posted another record night. We seem to be growing rapidly, but we're experiencing a problem. If you want to move to the next slide.
Hang on one second. I'm completely confused.
Okay, go ahead.
You use two analogies in this describing what you do. One, you use 1 million by 1 million, and two, you use something like DoorDash. Oh, did you say something like what do you do?
This company came through a program similar to 1 million by 1 million. It's called Entrepreneurship for All. And I was a mentor for this company as they were coming through. So I assisted them for 3 months and helped them develop a technology plan in order to attack their business model, which was to create a food delivery service within our local area. Add 2 years later, and they've grown substantially. They have over 7,000 customers. We're operating in 2 hubs right now. We have a 54% retention rate on first-time users month to month. Our service levels are phenomenal, and our vendor partners rave about us. We have just a really good view compared to our competitors. But when we're hitting a wall, and the problem is dispatch. And the dispatch is the physical act of assigning an order to a driver. And right now there are 2 main models in the field. We have a manual model, which is kind of similar to taxi cabs. What you'll see is somebody who's manually dispatching order by order to the fleet. The service levels are definitely higher because there's more care, attention to it, and you can use your more efficient usage of the drivers because you're able to model better where the driver should go very easily. It's strictly human to be able to do this fairly easily. But the labor costs are high, and it doesn't scale. We can't copy-paste these guys, and it's hard to find dedicated dispatchers who are going to meet our stringent service levels, but also low upfront tech costs. You're just hiring people. The second model is what is deployed by a lot of our competitors. What it does is it sets a beacon out from the demand to a radius, and everybody who's within that radius has the option of accepting that order. And what that does is that's removed the dispatch problem because they've now offloaded all the processing onto the individual drivers. They're the ones that have to decision whether they're going to take the order or not, but they have a very myopic view of the field. So it's not a very efficient model in the sense that the drivers aren't used properly as the way we see it. So the service levels are very variable. It really depends on how much of a fleet that you have. The drivers will drive all over the place answering demand because there's no assessment of the entire field. But the labor costs are very low because we don't have a dispatcher anymore, and that scales that problem very well. The problem is that the tech costs are a little higher up front. You have to have software that supports that. So we're hitting this wall where we want to grow, and we want to be able to scale at the swarm model but have the high levels of efficiencies as the manual model. So we can move to the next slide. So currently what we were using is the manual dispatch model. And each one of the founders, including myself, does the dispatch at certain times in the day. We kind of shift that off responsibility between the four of us through all hours of coverage 7 days a week. And we're in the position right now where we're going to our first major metropolitan area. We're going to go outside of our footprint to go attack an area that already has an incumbent. And we want to do this as cheaply as possible with the high levels of efficiency. So we came up with a project to kind of get the best of both. So we can move to the next slide. So we've built an artificially intelligent dispatch system. So it kind of mixes the best of both worlds. So we have the high service levels. We have an efficient labor usage. Our labor costs are low because we're offsetting this to computer processing, not people processing. And by proxy of that, it scales very well. We can copy and paste dispatchers. And you can see here on the right-hand side, I've kind of broken down a comparative cost between a human dispatcher versus an artificially intelligent one. These salary models were taken from Glassdoor. Competent dispatching runs from $16 to $22 an hour. You can see a 1 month comparison. This doesn't factor in anything like state taxes or anything else like that. It's a very similar disparity in cost, $175 for server costs for a month versus almost $16,000 on the high end for dispatcher salary. So let's go into the
to various competitors of yours, fleet management, people who are managing fleets. Is that what you're saying?
We have a few competitors. We have basically it's not even a competition if you really think about it, because we utilize some third-party vendor software that kind of simulates what we do and what our competitors do. We have the ability to use that swarm dispatch. And so we've made an improvement on it. So technically speaking, after this project is done, we have the ability to pivot. We can consider ourselves a technology company and try to be the dispatcher for all sorts of verticals in the logistics field. We don't necessarily have to be food. We could be livery. We could be emergency. But there's really no end to it. It really is about service levels and prerequisites. So we don't really view it as competition. What this is our attempt to solve the last mile logistics problem our way.
Do you want to be a logistics company or a food delivery company or that kind of a company, or do you want to be a software company that sells to those kinds of companies?
Correct. We're focusing on the food company right now, but the possibility of merging into a technology company and being perceived that way is definitely on the table for us. As we flesh this out, it's becoming more and more apparent that there is a definite need in this space for utility just like this. We know for a fact that we've used the swarm model and tried to meet the same service levels today. We're about 20 to 25% behind. We need that much more staff in order to accommodate the same service levels we do with manual dispatch. So we know that this is going to accommodate us in that level. Plus, it's very cheap. We can scale this and copy paste it. So it really kind of puts us at a different competitive level. But once again, it's where do we go from that? Do we go directly to technology company, or do we go to continue down this vertical? We still haven't strategized at what level we want to do, but we know that this.
This is the question that you wanted to discuss with me, right? Well, which way should you go? Yeah.
Well, the funding question definitely is one. It's like, where do we get the money for this? Because if you'll notice on the other slide, the development costs are high. I have to onboard some more resources, and one more resource from a mathematics perspective. I need somebody else's skill set because we're coming up against some other problems that we need to resolve before this runs completely unassisted. Because right now, what it does is it will assist the dispatcher, and it will enhance them about 4 or 5 times. They can handle a lot more volume. They're able to dispatch easier. But what I need to do is get this in the unassisted mode. I got your value proposition.
So basically, if you want to raise funding, you cannot raise funding for this company to do that, right? You have to decide which way you want to go and what are you raising funding for. If you're trying to raise funding for this dispatching software, then you have to take that software out, put it in a separate company. It needs to have its own tool. It needs to have its own funding pitch. And we have to see whether that pitch is fundable or not, and then take it that direction. If you try to fund the logistics company, then you already have a functioning logistics company, then you have to figure out who wants to fund that. These are 2 different businesses, and the investors are very different for each of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
one is a B2B business. The other is the
we
B2C.
want to stay with BDC. Yeah, we want to stay B2C. Right now, B2C is we have definitive growth plans to enter into the major metropolitan area that's next to us.
You cannot build this software to sell to B2B. That's not going to allow you to do that.
Say that one more time. I forgot. I didn't quite catch that.
If you want to stay with the B2C business, then you cannot raise money for the software to sell to other people.
Okay.
Then you are raising money for the B2C company, and you just have to pitch. You have to create a funding pitch that is basically geared to sell to investors the concept of the B2C company.
So you can't combine them? I mean, that's so I can't have the technology and then fund that for a growth aspect of a B2C?
You can have the technology as a differentiator in the B2C company, but that becomes part of the B2C pitch. That is not a B2B pitch. You cannot say that you're going to build this software and sell to B2B and do a delivery business. Investors will not accept that. They will want you to do one or the other. And the funding strategy for the two are different. Okay.
All right. So if I were to do the B2C route, just one last quick question, and I'll leave you. What would be the best route to go? B2C route.
Well, you're going to have to build, do the analysis on the B2C business. We have, all how you build the pitch deck. You need to basically learn how to build an investor pitch and so forth. And we'll have to see whether that's a fundable pitch and so forth and figure out whether this is fundable or not. If it is, then we can introduce you to investors. And that's I mean, if you go to 1 million by 1 million, you can go by yourself and create the pitch and go pitch to investors that you know also.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Mircha, how do you say this name, Ivanov? Are you on the call? Mircha is not on the call, okay? Let's get through. Pavel, you are up next then. Pavel, are you on the call? I see you in the room. You need to unmute your line if you're muted. Folks, while Pavel sorts out his technical issues, you're very welcome to introduce. There are a lot of people in the room, so please feel free to introduce yourselves in public chat and talk about what is it that you're doing and what brings you here. Introduce yourself. It's also a good networking opportunity. And Pavel, what's happening with your phone line? We need you to dial in to the phone line to be able to talk to you. Otherwise, it's not possible to work with your business. Okay, well, I'm going to skip through and start talking about the 1 million by 1 million program because there are people who need that information, and we'll come back if Pavel is back and ready to pitch. I will come back to you. So, one thing you observe here is that I'm not really mincing my words. I'm not really, trying to sugarcoat my feedback. I'm giving you direct feedback with which you can do something. You can, fix what's problematic. You can change your pitch around so that the pitch is more powerful, more effective. All these things, I'm going to tell you very candidly because I'm on your side. I want you to succeed. I have no other agenda besides seeing you succeed really, really well. So if you like this approach, refer other entrepreneurs to the 1 million by 1 million program. Your exploration of the program starts at 1Mby1M.com. Everything you need to access is there. You'll find a blog that is very rich and very comprehensive. So if you just start reading the blog for free, you'll learn a lot. The Entrepreneur Journeys book series is available on Amazon. We have 12 volumes of case study-based books. So if you're trying to learn a particular aspect of entrepreneurship, you can use those as well. You'll learn from case studies of 12 to 16 entrepreneurs each. These roundtables happen every week. You're welcome to come to any of them. and they're free. Our full acceleration program is 1M by1M Premium, where you get extensive methodology guidance. You have access to the curriculum. This is an online curriculum. We help you with business development where we have contacts. Our Rolodex is available to you. We help you with strategy consulting, the similar kind of method of consulting, coaching, mentoring, whatever you call it. To me, it's the same. We basically work on your business on a project-based basis through these online calls, WebEx calls, roundtables. And again, it is a case study-based program because those who are listening to a particular conversation is learning through those case studies as well. We also help with financing. We have a terrific investor network. If you go to the Seed Capital series on our blog, you'll see there are hundreds of investors in our community, and we work with them. With one caveat, you need to work with us to follow the methodology of creating something that is fundable, a pitch, a strategy, a situation that we can raise money around. Until you get there, we don't start making introductions because then the investors are going to not want to work with us anymore. So we do a lot of work with you before sending you to investors. And then we also help you with media relations. We have a lot of clout in the media. Now, the self-assessment has a set of questions that all of you who are thinking about raising money should think about. These are questions that investors would ask you. You should practice, you should research, you should try to plug your methodology gaps. You have methodology gaps. If you're not already a member of 1M1M Basic, go become a member and start learning through the curriculum. It's only $99 a month. It's very, very inexpensive. And you can dig through the website and see descriptions of premium, basic, and see which one you want to use to get to the next level. We have lots of FAQs, video FAQs, lots of details. The curriculum is case study and video lectures based. We have over 1,000 successful entrepreneurs who have come to this forum and told their stories of how they've put one foot before the other. And these include 100 plus unicorn entrepreneurs, 400 plus venture funded companies, another 400 plus bootstrapped entrepreneurs. And these are all available for you to learn from. So you're basically standing on the shoulders of people who have done before. We use the methodology of lean capital efficient bootstrap startups, and the philosophy is bootstrap first, raise money later. Validated businesses are a lot easier to raise money for than unvalidated businesses. So those of you who have customers and have gotten to paying customers through a bootstrapping path are in a very good position to raise money, and we'll work with you for sure to work out the details of how you get there. Okay, so that's pretty much it. We have 4 more free roundtables this coming month, May 2nd, 9th, 16th, and 23rd. We also have these in-person rendezvous that happen in Menlo Park at Cafe Boroni. The next ones are Wednesday, May 8th, May 15th, and May 22nd. So these are 5 to 6 p.m. at Cafe Boroni. And if you are in Silicon Valley or visiting Silicon Valley, you're most welcome to stop by. That's it. If you can dial in for questions, or you can start asking questions in the public chat. Ralph Seidel just sent me a message privately saying, listening to your questions and suggestions to the guys pitching already helped me to prepare my pitch for discussing it in one of the next roundtables. Many thanks. Very good, Ralph. That's exactly the point. That is why we are doing these, and I'm glad you found it helpful. And Nikhil Mishra is saying that founder of Aptfeel Labs. Aptfeel Labs is a marketplace for certified technical teams that enables the product management as a service or tech co-founder as a service platform for entrepreneurs building their product 1.0. All right, very good. Pavel, are you on the call? You need to dial in if you would like to pitch today. While Pavel is figuring all that technicality out, let me introduce you to Irina Patterson, who is on the 1M by 1M team and we'll be happy to answer any questions you might have about the program. So feel free to send her an email, irina@1Mby1M.com. And that's pretty much all I have. Unless Pavel dials in, the only thing left at this point is Q&A. So fire away, ask any questions you want to discuss. If you would like to dial in, you're very welcome to do that. So now it's roundtable time. Questions, comments, feedback, whatever you want to discuss, I'm happy to pick up from public chat or from the phone. Anybody? Questions? No? No one has questions. There's so many people in the room. No one has questions. No one has introductions. You don't want to introduce yourself. You don't want to tell us what you're doing. You don't want to participate. You learn the most by participating and dialoguing, you know. You have one? Go ahead, Nikhil. Where are people from? All these people in the room. Nikhil, unless you're dialed in, people cannot hear you. So you're not dialed in. If you want to do it through the internet, you're going to have to just type in your question in the public chat. Otherwise, you'll have to dial in. Let me go back and give you the dial-in numbers here. These are the dial-in numbers. You're going to have to dial in if you want to speak through the phone. Do tell us where you're joining from. We're very interested in knowing you, who you are, what you're doing, etc. What brings you here? How did you find out about 1 million by 1 million? Anybody? Questions? Nikhil, are you dialing in? Or are you typing a question? Should we wait for you or should we adjourn the session?
Hello.
Yes. Is that Nikhil?
Yes, that's me, Shwana. Thank you for sharing the codes with me. Just trying to figure this out. So first off, I apologize. This is the allergy season for me, so it might sound a little bit weird here. So like I said in the chat, I'm the founder of ASTI Labs, and what we're trying to build is a platform that's connecting certified technical teams with entrepreneurs. And the hypothesis of the assumption that we're going with is that technology is increasingly becoming a commodity. So, entrepreneurs who are trying to build their business applications, right? We're not talking about companies that are building core software components like operating systems or, a big data cache or stuff like that. But we're talking about the Ubers and Lyfts of the world. We're talking about the Instacarts. And when we look at the industry, we're basically saying 1,000 engineers at Uber and 1,000 engineers at Lyft are basically trying to build the same application. So this whole digital transformation industry, which is roughly about $4 trillion in next 5 years, will not scale if everybody is trying to recruit the engineers to build the same set of applications. So, and we see some of, there's a certain movement in building automated platforms. Like, for example, if you're trying to start an e-commerce company today, you can literally do that in less than 7 days because you have Shopify. Right. Yeah. Similarly, if you're trying to start a website today, you can, get that up and running in less than 2 to 3 days because you have Wix, Weebly, Squarespace, etc. But that hasn't happened for industries like healthcare or, for example, local or mobility. If I have to, for example, launch Uber today in a new geography, and I understand everything about the taxi industry, the operational aspects of it, how would I go out and acquire my customers and all of that. The challenge as an entrepreneur for me still is going out and building that app. And the ways to do that today is you go out and hire a freelancer or on Upwork, or, you go out and work with outsourcing company, or you hire a team. All of them, if anyone has worked through these, has pros and cons. And the failure rate of what an entrepreneur really wants to what the product that they really get is way higher when you're working with freelancers or outsourcing companies, because there's obviously a challenge of scope translation. Unless you're a product and tech guy yourself, there is a challenge in translating what your vision to actual product requirements, which in turn gets translated to design. So that's the problem statement we're going after. And sorry to introduce myself, I have been a tech and a product guy. My last job was the head of product at a company called ShareThis in Bay Area. So I'm based out of Bay Area as well, very close to you guys, in fact, Redwood City. And I've been sort of product and strategy consulting in last 6 to 9 months in some ways, and I'm doing this full time for last 3 months.
Nikhil, I think I understand what you're trying to do. That the key is going to be selecting what are you going to build. If you just have a bunch of technical teams, that's not going to do anything, right? That's not going to give you any leverage. Then you're competing with all the people on Upwork and so on and so forth. So you're going to need to differentiate with some level of a technology stack, a product that has enough TAM or enough founders asking for it. So what would that be? That is the key question that you're going to have to answer.
Yes, perfect. That's a great point. And, we realized that as well a couple of months ago talking to a bunch of entrepreneurs around us. So we started out with healthcare as our first sort of vertical. So we're helping a bunch of healthcare enthusiasts to launch their mobile application, so that helps them engage with their clients. So, for example, we worked with a dentist in Sacramento who is trying to basically get all of his customers on board to this platform where they can also ask for verification of their procedures, right? So that's what we're sort of going with for now. But that's a great input. In some ways, I'm actually still identifying what are those core verticals that I want to go after.
And a dentist is not exactly a founder. Then you're talking about a product for dentists, and that's somebody, that's kind of custom, right? And unless you decide that you're going to build a software and a practice management software for the dentist industry, which exists, by the way. So the key of all this is going to be, you gave very good examples. Shopify focused on e-commerce. There are millions and millions of e-commerce merchants, entrepreneurs, who are trying to set up shops online, and Shopify tapped into that need and built a product that was basically almost a do-it-yourself platform on which people can rapidly and without spending too much money launch an e-commerce business. You need to identify a category like that where there's a lot of activity going on and a lot of entrepreneurs want to build something and create a framework that has that kind of scalability.
Yeah, thanks, Fernand. So just to maybe I wasn't clear before. So yes, when I said the dentist, that's his main job. But what they were trying to do is build a Yelp-style application for all the other dentists. So this was another company that the dentist himself, as an entrepreneur, was trying to found, trying to start.
Yeah. So the way to look at that, I got it. The way to look at that is. Do you want to build a product for dentists as an entrepreneur, or what is the level of abstraction that you can deploy on that, and what is coming out of that? Let's say you build a software for the dentist, entrepreneur for that industry. What is the framework that is emerging out of that, and who else can use that? How do you position that platform and so forth? Because unless you have a platform that your founding teams or outsourced co-founding teams are working on top of, you're not going to get the leverage like Shopify.
I agree. I mean, we're not trying to be Shopify necessarily right now because that's like a no-code platform. And to build a no-code platform in trying to do what we're sort of trying to do, that's going to take a lot of engineering effort, and there's a lot. I can see a huge time to market to get that kind of product out in the market, right? But so hence for us, yes, that's the vision, that's the end goal. But for us, like the first thing we could do was build a marketplace because, if you look at the challenges in the market for an entrepreneur to work with other outsourcing teams is actually, finding the right partner. And especially in the Valley, we always talk about if you're trying to start a digital company, you have to have a tech co-founder, which I kind of believe, having come from tech and product background, it shouldn't be true. Technology is increasingly becoming a commodity, and that's how it should be. So that's, like I said, I mean, there's the vision, and the path to that vision for me was building the marketplace first, proving that there's value for the entrepreneurs.
The definition of a co-founder is somebody who works with equity and minimum cash. So if you position yourself as a co-founder, you're basically becoming an outsourced co-founder. How do you generate cash for your company to build your business? You're going to have equity in a lot of startups, and then eventually most of them are going to fail. You're trying to act as a venture capitalist.
Yeah, indeed. So that's a definition we're struggling with. Because when I say product management as a service, that positioning goes very well. The tech co-founder as a service kind of creates a bit of confusion, as you rightly pointed out. Like, are you guys going to work with equity, or is this a fixed fee kind of model? So that's something that I'm still iterating over in some ways.
Well, I'm happy to talk more. If you want to come to one of the rendezvous, since you're in Redwood City, come by to one of the Cafe Boroni rendezvous.
Absolutely. I mean, I would love to get in touch with you guys, and I really love the program today. Learned myself a lot. Just one maybe outstanding question, because this is something that I'm trying to discover for us from an acquisition channel. I see a huge synergy between a platform like ourselves working with incubators, right? Because when I look at really what incubators do is create sort of like a platform for the entrepreneurs to help understand or create their business model.
Nikhil, I know where you're going, so let me cut to the chase and answer that question. Incubators and accelerators are pitched non-stop for this. All the service providers have figured out this, and the positioning and the pitch that you're making to me is the pitch that numerous services companies are making to numerous incubators and accelerators, including us. So, I mean, it's a very undifferentiated pitch right now. All right, so I'm going to need to move to Pavel, but I hope I've given you some useful feedback to begin with.
Sure. Thank you for that.
You're very welcome. Pavel, are you on the call?
Sure. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. So my name is Pavel. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Roivenue, and we are a marketing intelligence analytics suite with offices in London, Warsaw, Prague, and Bucharest. Can we go to the next slide? So the problem for digital marketers today is still the same that it was actually 100 years ago. They put half of the advertising on things that don't work, and the thing is they still don't know that, and the complexity is increasing, so they're getting more and more lost because they have more channels to manage, they have more tools to look over,
very complicated.
Their data is structured, a lot of different sources, etc. And me, myself, I've been working in an agency previously before, in a digital agency, and I wanted to do things better, all right, for my clients in my portfolio. And so I stumbled upon something that later became Roivenue. If you could go to the next slide, that gives an answer to that, which starts with integrating all of the data sources that digital marketers would usually work with, and that is online marketing platforms like Facebook, DoubleClick, AdForm, also affiliates, all social channels, etc. Second, there's the data from their web analytics, which could be Google Analytics or AT Internet or Adobe Analytics, and also from their internal CRM or ERP system, from where we can pull information like revenue, profit, customers, repeated customers, etc., etc., etc. So we put all this into one sort of database or data lake, and if you can go to the next slide, we then strive to give our clients a full visibility across everything that's going on within their digital marketing and within the individual customer journeys that their customers, the customers they're trying to acquire, go through. So from one place, they can see everything from the first impression, the first banner that the customer saw, through all the different clicks and interactions with their paid ads, and then all the way to conversion, but also after the conversion, we provide visibility on, for instance, deliveries, so like really delivered goods, profit and customer lifetime value. And we mostly deal with the algorithm, the data science that we're mostly known for, and we are actually right now #1 within CEE, is multi-touch attribution, which is basically a thing that tells you which touch point in the customer journey deserves how much of the credit of the final conversion. And it's actually something that CMOs are claiming is, and have been claiming for a couple of years, is their #1 priority, and the demand is actually increasing ever since. Next slide, please. So we are operating within Europe right now, and we identified that there's 15,000 B2C retail companies that will be are in a need of a service like that and can actually afford to pay for that service. And actually research and market estimate that globally the market is already 1.8 billion, and it's going to double in the next 5 years. And in the next 2 years, we want to acquire 150 customers out of this whole pool.
Pavel, what size B2C retailers are we talking about here?
Yeah, so the cutoff point for us is they have to be spending at least 20,000 euros per month on digital advertising. So we're talking about retailers that would have a turnover of at least 10-20 million and upwards. So
the SAM is based on that? The 5,000 is using that cutoff?
The SAM is based on, that's the TAM, but the SAM is what we think. Not everybody will go with a paid service, let me put it this way, because there are free alternatives.
So 15,000 is based on the cutoff?
Yeah.
And what is your business model? How much are you charging in this scenario?
So we are a SaaS business, so we're charging a monthly license fee, which varies, but currently, we have ARPU of 1,300 euros per customer.
1,300 euros per customers. Well, 1,300 euros per customer per month. Okay.
Yes,
the monthly MRR basically. ARPU is not a SaaS metric. MRR, monthly recurring revenue, is a SaaS metric. Okay, got it. Okay.
So how we do customer acquisition is, I would say, a traditional B2B sales. We actually learned that we have to have face-to-face meetings, and therefore we have local country managers within each market that we operate in. And basically, we have also a marketing department that is generating leads. And in Q1 this year, 38% of closed deals were inbound, so they came through marketing, and 62 were outbound, so generated by the activity of the country managers themselves. And
how
also
many customers do you have?
Currently 31 customers, so that puts us at 40K MRR.
Okay.
With that, yeah, and this is where we have offices, so as I said, Warsaw, Prague, London, and also newly Bucharest.
Okay.
Some of our clients, we already work with some big clients like Orange and Vodafone, and also Pandora. But I would say our bulk is medium-sized retailers, as we were talking about. We are also some of the big agencies and worldwide networks like GroupM and Publicis are also a client, and some agencies are resellers. And as was on the previous slide, 1/4 of our clients actually came to be through the agency channel.
Good. Very good. Okay.
Yeah, so I think what we're struggling, or it's not, struggling is not the right word, but what we need to improve is acquisition, client acquisition. I mean,
so the first, actually, that is the first comment I have for you. The first piece of feedback I have for you is that the price point you're at, you cannot scale this company by closing deals by visiting people in person. The first thing you're going to need to do is turn this into an online, telephone, web, demos, this kind of meetings type of sales channel. So that is something that we have a methodology that we use within 1Mby1M, because we work very largely with technology companies, right? Technology and technology-enabled services companies. And we very often face this issue of having to scale the number of customers from 0 to 50 to 0 to 5 to 50 to 100 to 500 to 5,000, but without having to go visit. So there's if you have a very large client, like if you have Publicis and you're trying to close $100,000 to $200,000 a year deal with Publicis, that's a different story. That's worthwhile meeting them in person. But if you have a $2,000 a month customer, you shouldn't have to go visit them to close those deals. So that's the first thing that I would have you do is, if you were to work with 1Mby1M, the first thing I would have you do is learn that methodology and implement that methodology, and whatever we need to do in terms of figuring out your collaterals, your pitches, your messaging, everything around that strategy, that would be my first process. And we have tremendous success with this methodology. We have had lots of entrepreneurs use this strategy, implement this strategy, and scale with it. So I'm very confident about the effectiveness of that strategy.
Okay.
And the same thing, customer acquisition more effective is the same thing, right? You're doing all these lead gen activities, inbound, outbound. You need to put it through a customer acquisition methodology that closes without your having to visit everybody. That would be the biggest business process reengineering I would do first and foremost in your company.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Right. I mean, we've tried that in past, and it has never worked. So.
Well, that's something that I would be interested in working with you on.
Sure.
So I have a question. Yeah, go ahead, Pavel. You have another question?
No, I mean, the feedback we got from one investor was that, and we got seed investment last year, but as we are trying to raise more money, one of the feedbacks that we got were, he said that we have to open a new sales channel. So we have to have traditional sort of sales reps as we do right now, and next to it we should add something else, and that something else is. It's something unclear to me.
That something else has to be an offline channel. That's what I'm talking about. You need to learn how to create an effective online sales channel, online and phone sales channel that does not require visiting people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're doing big advertising agency deals where advertising agencies buy multiple instances of your product for each of their clients, that's something you can do in person, and that's fine. That would work just fine.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I have a question from in a private chat to me. Nag Kukkadapu is asking, could I wait for your suggestion on the cost? So what is your question, Nag? You can ask more questions. I don't have further suggestion. I mean, if you're looking for help in raising money, you're going to need to be part of the premium program, and I'll be happy to work with you on that. But do you have any other questions besides that? If you have questions about the program, you should talk to Irina, whom I just introduced a bit earlier. Let me put her contacts over here. But otherwise, I'm kind of done. Irina at 1Mby1M.com is the person you would talk to for any questions about the program. But if you have any other questions that, based on our discussions today, or anyone who wants to talk about your business, so you're very welcome to do that as well before we adjourn the session.
No, I mean, if you don't have any other ideas than the telesales, then understand, I guess.
Yeah. All right. So we are going to adjourn the session for today, and we will be back next week with another edition of the 1M1M Roundtable. And see you then. Look forward to working with more of your ideas and more of your projects. Bye-bye.